We will not be silenced! We demand to be heard!
The council chamber stretched before her like a cathedral built from starlight. Miles of transparent crystal suspended in zero gravity reflected the twin suns beyond the orbiting planet. Elena Rourke's boots clicked sharply against the polished alloy floor, a human heartbeat echoing against a galaxy of centuries-old alien power. She felt small, yet her chest burned with defiance. The Supreme Archon Velther's eyes were already fixed on her. Pale, vertically slitted, and unblinking, they measured her as one might examine a newly discovered specimen, curious, calculating, dismissive. Around him, dozens of delegates from ancient civilizations floated, seated on levitating platforms, their elongated limbs and multi-jointed appendages a stark contrast to her solid, human frame. "Captain Rourke?" Velther's voice rang across the chamber, resonating in the emptiness. "Humanity has been judged reckless. Your colonies endanger nearby star systems. Explain why the Council should continue to permit your species' expansion." Elena took a slow breath. "I am not here to argue predictions, Archon," she said evenly, her voice carrying through the chamber's acoustic mesh. "I am here to present facts. Humanity is capable of responsible colonization. Our settlements are stable, our governance effective, and our citizens committed to coexistence." A ripple of alien murmurs brushed the chamber. Velther's mandibles clicked, a sound humans would have mistaken for laughter. "Facts?" he hissed. "You bring statistics and reports before the wisdom of millennia? You are bold, Captain. Perhaps dangerously so." Elena held his gaze. "Dangerous only if you underestimate us. And you have." From the human delegation, murmurs of approval mixed with anxious tension. Some feared her tone, others admired it. She had always been a lightning rod. Humans respected courage, aliens feared it. The Council's record projector hummed to life, displaying maps of human-controlled sectors. Lines traced unstable systems, asteroid fields, and uncharted territories. "Look at your colonies here," Velther continued, gesturing toward a cluster of red-marked systems. "Your settlements interfere with natural energy flows, destabilize neighboring species' habitats. You claim responsibility, yet chaos follows your expansion." Elena moved toward the display, her finger tracing one of the red lines. "Chaos?" she asked. "Those readings are anomalies in your instruments. The so-called disturbances are minor gravitational fluctuations, naturally occurring and within human engineering limits. We have corrected each one, and no species has reported damage." A spindly diplomat hissed from above, limbs undulating in agitation. "Captain Rourke, do you dismiss our data? Our instruments are far more precise than human devices." "I do not dismiss them," Elena replied, voice steady. "I interpret them. And the interpretation you call evidence is misread. Humanity's methods are precise, adaptive, and ethical." She paused, letting her words hang. "Underestimating our ingenuity will be the Council's error, not ours." Velther's eyes narrowed. Bold words for a species still learning its place. Perhaps too bold. Elena did not flinch. "Boldness is how humans survive." Silence followed, thick enough to touch. Then, a subtle chime indicated a private message. She touched her wrist palms, and a holographic projection flickered. A simple line scrolled in stark, urgent letters. "Trust no one. Your life, and humanity's, depend on your next move." Her stomach clenched. Someone inside the Council feared what she might uncover, or knew the Council's secrets. But there was no time to ponder the sender. The session continued. "Captain," Velther said, "your species has potential. But potential is not control. You speak of responsibility, yet nearby systems crumble at your touch. Do you deny it?" Elena's eyes hardened. "I deny only the Council's narrative. Humanity does not crumble. Humanity adapts. We learn faster than your oldest species. You fear us because we change the rules the galaxy has obeyed for eons." Murmurs spread among the alien delegates. Some nodded, some recoiled. Elena's words struck at the invisible arrogance that had built the Council over millennia. Velther leaned forward, his voice lowering to a near whisper that carried across the chamber. And yet humans bleed easily. They are fragile. Their lifespan is brief. Their species is young. Do you intend to gamble with the galaxy's balance, knowing the cost? Elena stepped closer, unwavering. We gamble every day to survive. But unlike some of you, we fight not for dominance, but for survival and justice. If humanity falls under the Council's definition of chaos, then perhaps the galaxy itself has already lost the balance it claims to uphold. The room froze. A few delegates shifted uncomfortably, others exchanged glances that Elena could not interpret. Velther's gaze hardened, but there was a flicker, surprise, or perhaps a grudging respect. A younger human officer, floating near the chamber entrance, whispered, "Captain, they're testing you, seeing how far you'll go." Elena ignored the whisper. Her focus was on the Council's undercurrents. She had learned early that alien politics relied on subtle cues, not open declarations. Somewhere among the shadows of that chamber lurked betrayal. Somewhere among the archives lay evidence that could change everything. Velther straightened. "Captain Rourke, your words are spirited. Yet words alone cannot secure your colony's future. You must prove your species' worth." "And I will," Elena replied, voice calm but resolute. "Not because you permit it. Not because the Council grants it. But because humans do not wait for permission. We claim what is ours by action, ingenuity, and courage." A ripple of tension swept the chamber. Velther's mandibles clicked once, sharply. "So it begins," he murmured, more to himself than anyone else. "The human defiance. We shall see if your courage survives the weight of eternity." Elena straightened her shoulders, feeling the weight herself, but not of fear. Of anticipation. She knew the road ahead would test her, and humanity, in ways no one could predict. She also knew one immutable truth: the galaxy had underestimated humans, and that mistake would be costly. As the session adjourned, she drifted toward the exit, eyes scanning the floating delegates. Every shadow held a potential threat. Every smile might mask betrayal. And somewhere, hidden in the labyrinthine bureaucracy of the Council, lay the first clue that could turn the tide. Elena Rourke had entered the chamber as a representative. She would leave as the spark of a revolution. The hum of the flagship's engines vibrated through Elena's boots as she paced the command deck. The bridge, bathed in pale blue light, reflected the tension in her crew's faces. Every console blinked with activity, communication signals, star charts, sensor anomalies. Yet among the familiar hum of human engineering, the shadow of the Council lingered like a distant storm. Lieutenant Marco Dre, her second-in-command, glanced at her from the navigation console. "Captain, intercepts from Council intelligence channels show unusual activity in the Archive's central server. It's heavily encrypted, but—" He paused, frowning. "Someone's tampering with access logs." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Tampering or testing?" "Maybe both," Marco said, tapping at the console. "It's almost like they know someone's about to dig deeper." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we won't wait for permission. We go tonight. I want everything on that archive decrypted, every hidden file, every report the Council doesn't want us to see." A ripple of unease passed through the bridge crew. Infiltrating the Council's archives was considered impossible. Security systems were centuries ahead of human design. "Captain, if we fail," Marco began, but Elena cut him off. "Then humanity fails. And I will not let the Council decide our fate from behind their gilded walls." Her voice was firm, measured, carrying the weight of command. By the time the flagship approached the orbiting archive, the twin suns of the binary system had dipped below the horizon, casting the artificial planet in a muted violet glow. Elena's team boarded the stealth pod, small enough to avoid Council radar, but heavily shielded against detection protocols. "Remember," Elena said, crouching beside the pod's control panel, "our priority is the data. Avoid confrontation if possible. We are ghosts tonight." The pod detached, gliding silently toward the archive. Every surface of the colossal structure was adorned with surveillance nodes, anti-intrusion shields, and sentinel drones that moved with mechanical precision. Elena's fingers flew over the manual override. She bypassed the first layer of encryption with a human instinct for improvisation. The AI systems, sophisticated though they were, responded predictably to patterns and anomalies. "Got it," she whispered as the first lock disengaged. "They always overestimate complexity. They assume time and experience outweigh creativity. They're wrong." Marco's lips curved into a tight smile. "They always are with you, Captain." The pod slipped into the central hub undetected. Inside, the air was recycled and sterile, tinged with the faint metallic scent of the archive's machinery. Elena's gloves interfaced with the main console. Holographic panels shimmered, displaying databases and security protocols. A subtle hum of AI guardians monitored every command, scanning for unauthorized access. "Keep the firewalls in my blind spots," Elena instructed. "We move fast, or they'll know we're here before we even start." Hours passed in silence, punctuated by the soft clicks of encrypted doors opening and closing in the virtual network. Finally, Elena's screen displayed a folder labeled Classified, Strategic Annex. Her eyes skimmed the files. Maps of human colonies were marked with annotations, some benign, some sinister. Certain systems were designated for Council-controlled exploitation, resources, strategic positions, even population control. Her pulse quickened. "They plan to seize our colonies," Elena said, voice low but fierce. "Everything we've built, they want to take it for themselves, under the guise of regulation." Marco's gaze hardened. "Then we expose it. Publicly?" "No," Elena said, shaking her head. "If we show them prematurely, they'll manipulate it, spin it, and discredit humanity. We need leverage. Proof they cannot deny." A sudden alert flashed. Security AI had detected an anomaly in access patterns. Sentinel drones in the virtual grid were converging. Elena's fingers danced over the console, rerouting protocols, creating decoys, and isolating their digital footprint. "They're onto us," Marco murmured, tension in his voice. "We need extraction, now?" "Not yet," Elena said. "Just one more file." Her eyes scanned a folder labeled Council Minutes, Private Sessions. It contained communications between Velther and other high-ranking delegates. Names of conspirators, secret agendas, colonization plans, all laid bare. The pod's alarms began a muted siren. Elena's heart raced, but her mind was precise. "We've got everything. Extraction now, Marco." "On my mark." The pod launched from the archive, shields engaged, weaving through surveillance grids with the precision of a predator. Drones converged, but human ingenuity and quick adaptation kept the pod unseen. Once in open space, Elena allowed herself a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "Data secure," she said. "We have the proof." Marco exhaled, shaking his head. "I can't believe we did it. This changes everything." "Yes," Elena said, eyes fixed on the stars. "But it also paints a target on our backs. We're no longer merely representatives. We are challengers. And the Council will retaliate." A silent moment passed. Then Marco asked, almost reluctantly, "Captain, if they retaliate, what's our move?" Elena's gaze hardened. "Then we fight, not with brute force, but with strategy, diplomacy, and intellect. Humanity thrives when the odds are against us. That is our advantage." The bridge hummed with quiet determination. Every crew member understood the stakes, yet they trusted her, as humans always trusted those willing to stand at the edge first. Elena leaned against the console, letting the data scroll in front of her like a river of forbidden knowledge. Every file, every annotation, every intercepted communication was a puzzle piece in a game the Council had been playing for centuries, a game now within humanity's reach to control. "Captain," Marco said finally, voice cautious, "do you think Velther suspects?" Elena's lips curved into a faint, measured smile. "He suspects many things. But he underestimates humans. And underestimation is a weapon we wield better than any technology." The stars outside the viewport blurred as the flagship accelerated away from the planet. Somewhere in the Council, alarms would trigger, discussions would flare, and panic would ripple among the elite delegates. But humanity was already moving. The unseen war had begun. Elena allowed herself a single thought, a small acknowledgement of the gravity of what they had done. "This is only the beginning," she murmured. "The Council will try to crush us, to erase us. But humans do not break. We adapt. We endure. And tonight we struck the first blow." In the quiet hum of the flagship, Elena Rourke stared at the data streams like a general surveying the battlefield. Her mind raced, planning the next moves, anticipating the Council's countermoves, calculating risks and opportunities. She was no longer just a captain. She was the spark of defiance that might ignite the future of her species. And somewhere deep in the Council's archives, eyes unseen, sensors unblinking, someone realized the game had changed. Humanity would not be contained. The Council chamber had never looked smaller. From her vantage point, Elena Rourke could see the vast curvature of the crystal dome, the twin suns refracting across levitating platforms, casting alien delegates in fractured light. Yet despite the grandeur, she felt no intimidation. She carried in her mind the weight of proof, the knowledge the Council had tried to bury, and the resolve of a species that refused subjugation. Velther waited, as always, his eyes narrowing when he noticed her approach. This time, there was a different tension in the chamber. A murmur ran through the delegates, faint but unmistakable. Word of the missing classified files had spread faster than anyone could anticipate. "Captain Rourke?" Velther's voice echoed, laced with measured ire. "I hear your species has taken liberties with Council property. Explain yourself." Elena stepped forward, letting the human instinct for presence carry her. "Archon Velther," she said, voice firm and clear. "I did not take liberties. I revealed truths. Your Council has plans that endanger humanity, designs disguised as regulation, and intentions that would strip my species of its sovereignty. I am here to ensure the galaxy knows them." Velther's mandibles clicked, a sound like grinding stone. "Bold. And reckless. You gamble with truths that could unravel centuries of order. You presume your interpretation outweighs our wisdom." Elena's gaze sharpened. "I presume nothing. I present evidence. And you will either act justly or be exposed for what you truly are, a Council protecting privilege, not balance." The holographic panels around the chamber shimmered. Elena's aide, Lieutenant Marco, activated the transmission. Across the chamber, all delegates saw intercepted communications, plans to annex human colonies, and secret votes within the Council. Gasps of shock, not fear, echoed in alien tones. Some delegates leaned forward, curiosity ignited, others recoiled, suddenly aware their complicity was visible. Velther's voice dropped to a low hiss, almost to himself. "So, this is your defiance?" "Yes," Elena said. "Not defiance born of arrogance, but of necessity. Humanity cannot survive as a pawn in a game designed by beings who refuse to see us as equals." A murmur of alien debate rippled through the chamber. A few younger delegates, voices trembling but firm, demanded verification. Elena's hand hovered over her wrist console. "The data is authentic," she said. "Each file is time-stamped, encrypted, and cross-verified. You cannot dismiss it without exposing your own duplicity." Velther's eyes blazed, but Elena detected hesitation. A rare moment. "Do you believe you have one?" he asked. "One species' ingenuity does not overturn eons of governance." "I believe humans will be heard," she replied. "And when the Council is forced to act, justice, not fear, will guide its decisions." Then, Velther's expression hardened. "And if I refuse?" Elena took a measured step closer, voice unwavering. "Then the galaxy will know. Your reputation, your alliances, your authority, all laid bare. You may possess longevity and influence, but humans possess adaptability, courage, and the willingness to challenge what is unjust." A tense silence filled the chamber. For the first time, Velther seemed uncertain. His gaze flicked across the delegates, assessing who had been swayed. And slowly, a few voices began to speak, not in support of Elena, but questioning the Council's intentions. "You claim oversight," one elder delegate said, limbs trembling with disbelief. "But these files show exploitation. How can this Council govern without fear of its own corruption?" Another added, "We must reconsider our position on human colonies. They operate responsibly, contrary to what has been reported." Velther's mandibles clicked sharply. He rose from his levitating platform, towering above all present. "Enough! Do you think your revelation alone will intimidate the Council? You mistake exposure for power. You mistake human courage for inevitability." Elena did not flinch. She advanced to the center of the chamber, the weight of her species behind her in silence. "Power is not exposure alone. Power is what you do with knowledge. And today, Archon, the Council has a choice. Uphold justice, or witness the unraveling of your authority. Humanity will survive either way. The question is whether the Council will survive with its credibility intact." The chamber erupted into debate. Voices layered in alien tonalities, some rising in anger, others in moral outrage. Elena stepped back, letting the Council's reaction unfold. Her role was now subtle, less about speech, more about presence, observation, and calculation. Hours passed in this tense stalemate. Delegates argued, alliances shifted, and Velther's composure became visibly strained. He had spent centuries unchallenged. For the first time, he faced uncertainty in the judgments of others. Elena's proof had done more than display evidence, it had shaken the hierarchy. Finally, Velther spoke, his voice resonant and controlled. "Captain Rourke, it seems your species has proven some capacity for governance. Perhaps we underestimated the value of your audacity." Elena inclined her head, eyes steady. "We asked not for favor, Archon, only recognition. Our rights to our colonies, our autonomy, must be acknowledged. Nothing more, nothing less." The chamber quieted. After deliberation, an unprecedented vote was called. Delegates cast their positions with hesitant but visible acknowledgement of the human argument. The final count favored humanity, recognition of sovereignty over their colonies, with conditions that ensured transparency, yes, but crucially, not control by alien powers. Velther's eyes lingered on Elena. Mandibles clicked in a sound that almost resembled grudging respect. "Captain Rourke, it seems humans are more capable than our records suggested. This does not end our observations, but it establishes a new precedent." Elena allowed herself the smallest hint of a smile. "Then the galaxy now knows that underestimation of humanity comes at a cost." As the council session ended, Elena and her team returned to the flagship. The weight of hours of confrontation lifted slightly, replaced by the cold reality of what had been achieved, and what might come next. She understood the Council's reach was far, their capacity for retaliation immense. Yet she also knew one irrefutable truth: humanity had claimed its voice, and it would not be silenced. Marco approached, voice low but steady. "Captain, that was beyond anything I imagined." "You..." Elena held up a hand. "We did not win by audacity alone. We won by strategy, by intellect, and by showing that humans do not accept subjugation quietly. This is only the first step. The Council will test us again. And next time, we must be ready for every form of pressure they can apply." Outside the viewport, stars stretched like ribbons across the void. Elena leaned against the console, letting the weight of her species' future settle on her shoulders. Humanity had survived the first challenge, had stood against beings who had ruled the galaxy for millennia, and had emerged with recognition. She allowed herself one thought, clear and unyielding: the galaxy underestimated humans. That mistake will echo for generations. And somewhere, beyond the crystal walls of the Council, far across the stars, the first ripple of change began to spread. Humanity had defied the old order, and no force, not even a Supreme Archon, could erase the spark they had ignited.